You ever feel like keeping up with the next waves of medical breakthroughs requires wading through a jungle of really dense scientific papers?
Absolutely. It can feel, like you need a PhD just to scratch the surface sometimes.
Exactly. What if we could kind of cut through all that, zero in on the truly game-changing advancements, and understand why they actually matter?
Yeah, that's the sweet spot, isn't it? Getting the essence without the overwhelm.
That's precisely our mission today. We're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and its revolutionary impact on discovering and developing biologic drugs.
Okay, so biologics. For anyone maybe not deep in the pharma world, these are a really special class of medicines. Think of traditional drugs as typically small, chemically made molecules.
Right, like aspirin or something.
Exactly.
Oh,
Biologics, though, they're much larger, way more complex, and they're derived from living organisms.
like what kind of things are we talking about?
Things like antibodies, therapeutic proteins, even gene therapies. These are
Yeah.
sophisticated molecules, and they hold incredible promise for treating a huge range of diseases.
And we're already seeing some pretty remarkable results with them, aren't we?
We definitely are, especially with cutting-edge stuff like multi-specific antibodies. Those can tackle multiple disease pathways at once.
Right, almost like hitting several targets with one shot.
Wow.
Or ADCs, antibody drug conjugates.
Yeah, ADCs act like these incredibly precise delivery systems, almost like guided missiles ferrying potent drugs straight to cancer cells, for example.
Right.
They're truly marvels of bioengineering. I
Yeah.
mean, you've seen the impact of biologics already with blockbuster drugs like Humira or Keytruda, but, and this is a big but, the journey from that initial idea to an approved medicine is incredibly challenging.
That's what we've been looking into. Developing these really powerful therapies is, well, notoriously difficult.
It really is. These are large, intricate molecules. They have complex 3D shapes, and their behavior inside the body is just far more nuanced than, say, your typical small molecule drug.
Which leads to some pretty significant hurdles in actually developing them.
Exactly. And as the sources point out, one of the biggest issues is the high failure rate. So many promising biologic candidates just don't make it through the really rigorous testing
It
process.
sounds like a long and often disappointing road.
It can be. And the timelines, they're extensive. Bringing just one biologic drug to market can easily take a decade, maybe more.
A decade. Wow. And then there's the cost.
Oh, astronomical. The investment needed can easily reach billions of dollars for a single drug.
Billions. So these are the very real obstacles that have made creating these potentially life-saving treatments so incredibly tough.
Precisely. And this is exactly where artificial intelligence is stepping in, almost like a transformative force.
And in this deep dive, we really want to extract the core insights for you, showing exactly how AI is tackling these challenges head-on and fundamentally reshaping the whole landscape of biologic drug discovery.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How is AI actually revolutionizing this really complex process?
Well, let's start right at the beginning. Identifying and, importantly, validating the right drug targets.
Yeah, this is foundational, right? You have to pinpoint the specific molecule in the body that's actually driving the disease. What's truly revolutionary now is how AI algorithms can just sift through these colossal data sets of biological information.
We're talking about just mountains of data, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Genomic sequences, the entire genetic blueprint, protein structures, the intricate machinery of our cells, plus vast amounts of clinical data from patient outcomes.
It's almost impossible to imagine a human processing all that information.
Exactly. But AI can intelligently analyze these huge data sets. It finds subtle patterns, correlations that might just escape human observation, potentially revealing drug targets that were hidden before.
So it's kind of like having this incredibly insightful research assistant, but with superhuman analytical powers.
That's a great way to put it. AI spots connections across the sea of data, uncovering therapeutic avenues that might take humans years, maybe decades, to find, or maybe they'd miss them entirely. Think about finding, I don't know, one specific grain of sand on every beach in the world.
Okay, that puts it in perspective. But it's not just about finding potential targets, is it? We need to know if they're actually worth going after.
Absolutely. And AI plays a massive role in validating these targets, too. By running what we call in silico experiments, basically, computer simulations AI can test the likely impact of targeting a specific molecule.
So before anyone even picks up a pipette in a wet lab, researchers can get a kind of virtual preview of whether a target is likely to work.
Precisely. It's like building this sophisticated virtual model of the disease and then seeing how different interventions might play out. This lets researchers prioritize the targets that look most promising and avoid wasting time and, frankly, money on pathways that probably won't lead anywhere. It's about focusing effort right from the start.
Okay, so we've got a validated target.
Yeah.
Now, especially when we're talking about antibodies, the next huge hurdle is designing the actual drug molecule. How's AI helping there?
Right. This is where AI's ability to analyze things at an incredibly tiny granular level becomes just invaluable. For antibodies, AI can delve right into the precise interactions between the antibody and its target.
That sort of lock and key mechanism we hear about.
Exactly that. The epitope-paratope interaction, how the antibody's binding site, the paratope, recognizes and latches onto the target, the epitope. AI algorithms can predict the strength of this binding, we call it affinity. And then, crucially, they can optimize the antibody's amino acid sequence.
The fundamental building blocks.
Exactly, it's building blocks.
And why is optimizing that sequence so important?
Oh, it's critical for lots of reasons. It can make the antibody much better at neutralizing the target, improve its stability so it lasts longer in the body, and really importantly, reduce the risk of it triggering unwanted immune responses. It's all about engineering the absolute best molecular key.
So it's not just finding an antibody that sticks. It's about crafting one that's super effective, safe, and stable.
Precisely. And this is where machine learning and deep learning really shine. AI can generate and then virtually test enormous libraries of potential antibody variations, far more than could ever be physically made and tested in a lab in any reasonable time frame.
It's like exploring millions, maybe billions of slightly different keys in a tiny fraction of the time it would take a human.
Exactly right. This just dramatically accelerates the whole process of finding the best antibody candidates.
Okay, so we've identified a promising target. AI has helped design some potential antibody drugs. How do we then pick the absolute best one to actually move forward with?
Yes, lead candidate selection. That's the critical next step. AI algorithms can analyze and rank these potential candidates based on a whole host of factors.
Like what kind of factors?
Things like their efficacy, how potent are they, their specificity, making sure they hit the disease molecule and not healthy cells by mistake, their predicted safety profile, just based on their molecular properties, and even things like how feasible they might be to manufacture at scale.
So AI is juggling all these different, often competing priorities at the same time.
Absolutely. It's a really complex, multi-objective optimization problem. It's way beyond what a human can efficiently manage, really. AI can also weigh up candidates that come from different places, traditional methods like animal immunization, completely synthetic libraries, something called phage display, or even insights taken from the human immune system itself.
It sounds like having this superpowered filter, just sifting through all the possibilities to find the gold nuggets.
Exactly. And this saves enormous amounts of time and, of course, resources by stopping researchers chasing down candidates that are just less likely to work out. It's about focusing efforts where they have the highest probability of success.
Okay, lead candidate selected. Now, how do we get a feel for how it's actually going to behave once it's inside a living system, inside a person?
Right. That's where the power of predictive modeling really comes into play. AI-powered models can simulate the incredibly intricate interactions between the drug and its target within that complex biological environment.
So we can get a kind of sneak peek into its potential behavior.
Exactly. These models can predict potential side effects. They can help identify which patient groups are most likely to respond well to the treatment. They can even help refine dosage strategies. It's almost like running virtual clinical trials inside a computer.
That sounds incredibly valuable for sort of de-risking the whole development process.
It really is. By mimicking biological processes through these in silico simulations, we gain these invaluable insights into a drug's potential effectiveness and its safety profile. This allows for earlier design tweaks, potential risk mitigation, and even thinking about personalized medicine approaches much earlier.
And this is all happening before we even think about testing in humans.
Precisely. It's a real paradigm shift in how we approach drug development. It's quite exciting.
Okay, so we have this promising drug candidate. It looks good in the computer simulations. But the journey doesn't stop there, right? We actually have to make the thing.
Exactly. And manufacturing biologics is, well, it's a complex and often very expensive business.
And I gather AI is playing a role here too.
Absolutely. AI algorithms can analyze just vast amounts of data generated during the manufacturing process itself to identify the optimal conditions for pretty much every step.
From start to finish, like the whole process.
Yes, right from the initial growing of the cells that produce the biologic, all the way through purifying the final drug substance and then formulating it into a medicine that can actually be used.
So it's optimizing the entire production line, basically.
Precisely. And this leads to better efficiency, lower manufacturing costs, and ultimately higher quality drug products. AI can also help automate key steps in manufacturing and provide real-time monitoring to make sure everything is consistent and efficient when producing these really complex therapies.
It's pretty incredible to think about AI touching every single stage of this really intricate process. And this isn't just theory, is it? There are actual companies using these AI tools right now.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole growing ecosystem of what people are calling tech bio companies. These are the pioneers using AI in drug discovery and development. The sources you shared highlight several really key players.
Let's dig into some of them. Let's see how these ideas were actually being put into practice. Tell me about Twist Bioscience.
Okay, Twist Bioscience, especially their Twist Biopharma Solutions arm, is really leveraging AI to significantly improve antibody discovery. They use AI to guide this process called antibody affinity maturation, basically, making the antibody bind more tightly to its target. The key thing is their AI and machine learning platform can generate and rapidly test loads of antibody versions without needing tons of traditional slow lab experiments.
That sounds incredibly efficient.
It is. And their AI can also predict the best ways to humanize antibodies. You see, if an antibody is first developed in, say, a mouse, it needs to be tweaked to look more human to our immune system so it doesn't get rejected.
Right, make it compatible.
Exactly. Twist's AI analyzes huge databases of human antibody sequences to predict the best modifications for this humanization step.
So it's learning from all known human antibodies to make these therapeutic ones safer and better for us.
You got it.
Okay, what about Antiverse? What's their angle?
Antiverse is focusing on tackling historically really difficult drug targets, things like GPCRs and ion channels. These have been notoriously hard to make drugs for using the old methods. Their machine learning models are specifically designed to predict antibody sequences that will bind strongly to these tricky targets, even when there isn't much existing data to learn from. Then they use advanced sequencing and computational tools to pick the best candidates.
So they're really pushing the boundaries of what used to be called undruggable.
Precisely. They're going after the tough ones.
And Generate Biomedicines. They sound like they have a broad approach.
Yeah, Generate takes a wider AI-driven view. They're aiming to understand the fundamental rules of biology itself to design completely new medicines from the ground up. Their platform optimizes protein therapies for complex diseases. It can even modify therapies to sort of hide from the body's immune system, making them more effective. They're using AI to speed up discovery across different types of biologics, antibodies, sure, but also smaller protein bits called peptides, and even things called nanobodies. And a really key thing for them is optimizing not just how well it binds the target, but also its developability.
Developability.
Yeah, basically, how easy is it to actually turn this molecule into a real drug that can be manufactured, stored, and given to patients? They look at the whole picture.
That holistic view seems important. Now, EVQLV sounds like they're really zeroed in on the early stages.
Yes, EVQLV's AI platform specializes in what's called de novo antibody discovery. That means creating totally new antibodies from scratch, not just tweaking existing ones. These antibodies are designed to be highly specific for their targets. Their computer methods analyze and optimize a whole range of antibody features, binding strength, sure, but also the risk of causing an immune reaction, how stable it is, and whether it might stick to other unintended molecules. Their focus is really on nailing the design up front to get optimized candidates faster.
And Biologic Biosciences has an interesting mix, right? AI and lab work.
Indeed. Bigot combines AI power with actual wet lab experiments in this kind of closed-loop system. Their platform, called Milliner, integrates high-throughput lab testing directly with machine learning. So if they know the 3D structure of a target, the AI predicts promising antibodies, and then they're rapidly made and tested right there in their lab.
And the lab results feed back into the AI.
Exactly. The data from those experiments is fed straight back to refine the AI models. It's this powerful iterative learning loop based on real-world results.
That sounds like a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
MAbSilico seems to be doing something similar.
Yes. MAbSilico also uses that integrated approach AI design feeding into their own labs, creating a continuous feedback loop. Their AI can design antibodies to hit very specific regions on a molecule, optimize existing antibodies, and even engineer antibodies with special features, like maybe only binding at a certain pH level. And again, the lab data constantly improves their AI models.
It's all about that synergy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Computation and real-world testing. What about isomorphic labs? They sound Quite different.
Yeah, Isomorphic Labs is really pushing an AI-first strategy. They're leveraging the absolute cutting-edge AI tools, including things like AlphaFold 3, which is incredibly accurate at predicting protein 3D structures. Their aim is to identify potential drug candidates primarily, maybe even entirely, through computer simulations, looking across a huge range of targets. They want to generate deep biological understanding just using AI analysis.
So less lab work early on.
That's the goal. Significantly reduce the need for early lab experiments and focus computational power on those really challenging, previously undruggable targets.
A bold vision. Now, the material you shared really put a spotlight on MAbSilico. What makes them stand out in this crowded field?
Right, MAbSilico is particularly noteworthy because of their exceptionally rigorous structure-based design approach. They perform this incredibly detailed analysis of the 3D structures of both the antibody and the target molecule. They use advanced computer modeling, simulations to really understand the interactions right down at the atomic level.
That level of detail sounds incredibly precise, like super fine-tuned.
It absolutely is. And this lets them make very precise predictions about how well an antibody will bind the affinity and, really critically, how specific that binding will be. So minimizing the chances it hits the wrong thing. Their whole AI and machine learning platform is built on top of this amazing manually curated database.
A special database. What's in it?
It's a real treasure trove. It contains detailed 3D structures of antibodies and their target epitopes, precise measurements of binding strength and specificity, information on biological effects, and tons of developability data, things like stability, solubility, potential immunogenicity. This incredibly rich, curated data gives their AI algorithms a massive advantage in making accurate predictions.
So the quality of the data they feed the AI directly impacts how good the predictions are. Garbage in, garbage out, but they have great stuff going in.
Exactly. They also use this sophisticated strategy called multi-parametric optimization. They're not just looking for the antibody that binds the absolute strongest. Instead, they consider a whole set of factors that are crucial for a drug to be successful.
Like what?
Things like manufacturability, stability, solubility, immunogenicity. They consider all of that right from the initial design stage. This helps ensure their antibody candidates aren't just effective in theory, but they're also likely to be safe and practical to actually produce as a medicine.
So they're thinking about the entire drug development pipeline, right from square one.
Precisely. And crucially, MAbSilico doesn't just rely on computers. They combine these powerful predictions with significant biological validation. They collaborate a lot, but they also have their own lab facilities where they physically test the antibodies their AI designs. This real-world biological data then feeds back and accelerates the validation of their AI models. And interestingly, they achieve this rapid validation using their own internal, carefully built database, not needing collaborator data to train their AI initially. They've got a strong track record, too, backed up by numerous peer-reviewed scientific papers. The key takeaway from MAbSilico is that powerful combination: deep structure-based design, thinking about all the important drug properties early on, and then rigorously testing it in the real world.
This all sounds incredibly promising and very much like, well, the cutting edge of where things are right now. It's not science fiction.
Not at all. The future of biologic drug discovery looks incredibly bright, and AI is absolutely poised to play an increasingly central role in that.
So what can we realistically expect to see in the coming years?
Well, I think we can anticipate a real surge in innovative biologic therapies. More sophisticated, multi-specific antibodies, more advanced ADCs, maybe even cell-based therapies, all of which have been optimized and accelerated by AI. These really cutting-edge treatments are likely to become a reality for more patients.
And hopefully the whole process of developing them will get more efficient.
Indeed. With AI getting integrated across the whole pipeline, from target ID right through to manufacturing, we should start seeing shorter development timelines and potentially lower overall costs. AI is also getting better and better at predicting drug efficacy and safety, which should pave the way for more personalized treatments tailored to individuals and hopefully fewer expensive failures in those late-stage clinical trials.
It sounds like AI isn't just a tool for finding drugs, but also for understanding the diseases themselves much better.
Precisely. AI will help us identify completely new drug targets, new disease pathways we didn't know about, and that allows us to design more precise, more effective treatments. The whole pharmaceutical industry is increasingly recognizing the transformative power of these AI-designed molecules, and we're really hopeful this will translate into significant clinical benefits for patients.
Because ultimately, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Getting better treatments to people faster.
Exactly. We really do feel like we're on the cusp of a revolution in how medicines are created. You've got this convergence of AI with other powerful technologies, things like synthetic biology, high throughput screening, and that's going to further accelerate how we design, create, and test new drugs. And companies like MAbSilico, with their deep expertise in these robust validation frameworks, they're going to be absolutely critical players in navigating this future. It's really about AI augmenting human ingenuity, helping us develop therapies that are better, safer, and ultimately more accessible.
So to kind of wrap this all up, the big message is that AI isn't some distant future tech in medicine anymore.
Not at all. It's absolutely here.
It's here, it's happening right now, and it's fundamentally changing how we approach the incredibly complex world of discovering and developing biologic drugs.
And it's directly tackling those major hurdles that have plagued this field for so long,
Hmm.
the super high failure rates, those really lengthy timelines, and the enormous costs involved.
And doing that in so many different ways, from pinpointing the right targets in the first place, designing these incredibly sophisticated antibody drugs, predicting how they'll behave in the body, and even optimizing how they're actually manufactured.
And we've touched on just a few of the pioneering tech bio companies out there that are using AI in really creative and innovative ways to make all this a reality. Companies like Twist, Antiverse, Generate, MAbSilico, and the others we mentioned.
Hopefully this deep dive has given you some of those aha moments, maybe a clearer picture of how AI is being harnessed to navigate biological complexity and develop the next generation of treatments.
So as we finish up, I just want to leave you with this thought. Consider the really profound implications of AI's rapidly growing ability to understand and even manipulate biological systems. What entirely new possibilities might emerge, maybe in personalized medicine or even beyond that we haven't even conceived of yet?